Hey, payday. You want payday. I know that. The stage is now being set for Canelo Alvarez to fight in the UK against a guy you do not want to see him fight. To find out more and find out who that fighter is, stay tuned to this video. We unpacked. We unpacked. We unpacked. We unpacked. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpacked. We unpacked. We unpacked. Coming to you live. Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Wow. So the stage is now being set for Canelo to fight someone I know you guys don't want to see him fight. And I'm going to talk more about that. Before I get into it, this week, Amir versus Kell Brook. Better late than never, but never late is better. A little bit, or a lot of bit, past his prime. But it still should be a good fight if you want to watch that fight and order that fight. Use the link in the description. Use my link to get ESPN. There's an ESPN direct link or my link tree. Both will take you there. Use my link if you're trying to watch Amir versus Kell Brook. This is a great way to support the channel and see what should be an entertaining fight. Someone will probably get knocked out. Link in the description. Now, about Canelo Alvarez. Where do I begin? So I can already see the play, and I know some of you guys are like, how can you see the future? Because I am Ego Stradamus. This is easy, and I can see the play, and I got more to say, but the stage is being set for Canelo to possibly fight in the UK, all right? Canelo in the past has said he wants to fight in the UK for whatever reason and fight worldwide. And now look at this, link in the description. Eddie Hearn says John Ryder is the right opponent for a potential Canelo Alvarez UK fight. Oh, John Ryder. I won't deny it. I'm a John Ryder. You the one with me. Got the hands in the Wow. John Ryder could land more big fights after defeating Daniel Jacobs. If Canelo Alvarez ever gets the desire to fight in Britain, then John Ryder is the ideal opponent. That's the verdict of Eddie Hearn, who was ringside when Ryder defeated Danny Jacobs via split decision on Saturday night. Ryder, a victim of tight scorecards in the past, was the beneficiary of what appeared to be generous judging, as a late rally was enough to get past the former two-time world champ. Canelo, current ruler at 68, beat Caleb Plant. Hearn believes a British visit from the Mexican icon could see him share a ring with Ryder in the future. Canelo, this is a quote, Canelo obviously wants to fight in the UK, said Hearn when speaking to DAZN. Canelo's got plans prepared and nearly locked in for this year. But I think if he wants to fight in the UK, he has got the perfect opponent. You know, I don't see any other super middleweights in their country have standout victories like that. John Ryder just beat Danny Jacobs tonight, you know, and it was his attrition that got him through that fight, his desire to win that fight. He's been on the end of a lot of bad decisions. Tonight was a very close fight, could have gone either way, but it was one that went his way, end quote. So you guys can see Eddie Hearn is pushing for this rubbish, and this is a horrible idea. And I can't wait to see what Canelo decides. If Canelo decides to fight out of all the names that are currently available, and people, if he decides to fight John Ryder off of that performance, wow, that's gonna show us a lot about who Canelo is. First of all, John Ryder is not a tall guy. You know, he's a short guy, and he got a cold sore. You know, that's just something I noticed right there. So the man has a cold sore. He's not that tall. He's not that big for the division. And more importantly, he just fought Danny Jacobs. Now, Canelo already beat Danny Jacobs and that was a pretty close fight. That was probably one of the last people that Canelo payday. You want payday? I know that he fought that went to decision and didn't get knocked out, and John Ryder just recently fought him. So for starters, the reason I'm going to tell you several reasons why this is a horrible idea. One, John Ryder doesn't fit the bill of somebody who can even beat Canelo. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just about seeing Canelo lose, but we've seen this movie before. Canelo has already fought 1,000 British fighters, Eastern European fighters. You know, at what point do we have to stop seeing the same movie? It's like Fast and the Furious when they just keep coming out. Like the first Fast and Furious, they were street racers. Now they're like special agents and basically like the Avengers. It's like, all right, this is probably enough of the movies, you know what I mean? But if they feel like they can squeeze $1 out of the audience, they're gonna keep making a movie. They won't be getting my money with this fight though. Canelo versus John Ryder. So you can already see the stage is being set. Look, John Ryder targets Canelo as he edges past Danny Jacobs. Another huge reason, right, that this is a horrible idea is because off of the performance, if you actually watch the fight, barring the UK insanely biased commentary, many people believe that Danny Jacobs won the fight. People like Gabe Rosado, even guys from the UK like Sam Jones, he put out a tweet and he was like, I can't honestly see how you would have John Ryder winning that one against Jacobs. Jacobs was so hurt or annoyed that he flew all the way to the UK to get robbed that he ended up walking out of the ring. I don't think he did a post-fight interview, right? And that's kind of Jacobs' fault because I wouldn't be surprised if the powers that be set him up. You know what I mean? Truth be told, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. You're fighting in the UK where it's his hometown crowd. And the funny thing about this whole scenario is this: John Ryder was on the opposite side of this same predicament when he fought Callum Smith. He fought Callum Smith in Callum Smith's backyard. I know they're both English and British from the UK, but he fought Callum Smith literally in his backyard where he's from, and he should have won that fight. John Ryder should have won that fight. But the judges said Callum Smith won, and then he later went on to get destroyed by Canelo Alvarez, losing every single round. So John Ryder knows how it feels to lose by robbery, right? And then now that same feeling is bestowed on Danny Jacobs, who really didn't lose this fight. We know boxing has it's full of BS and it's full of these controversies. And, you know, it was home cooking. There's nothing else that needs to be said. And ironically enough, Danny Jacobs fought Gabe Rosado, and he was on the wrong side of that. You know, most people, or a lot of people, thought that he lost the fight to Gabe Rosado, and Gabe Rosado was the person. So it's like almost on these DAZN cards, it's like Freaky Friday. John Ryder fought Callum Smith, should have won the fight. They gave it to Callum Smith. He graduates and goes on to fight Canelo, right? Off of a robbery. Then you had Danny Jacobs, who fought Gabe Rosado, and many people thought he really didn't look the best, and he lost that fight to Rosado, but then they robbed Rosado on the scorecards. And then now they send Danny Jacobs, a black American fighter, to an external market, the UK market, for whatever reason, even though he's the guy with the more decorated resume and the bigger fights with Triple G and Canelo. Eddie Hearn says, oh, let's send this American. That shows how much Eddie Hearn doesn't know about building black American talent. And they send him to the UK, and then he gets robbed by John Ryder in his backyard. So, I mean, it's bad. It's if Canelo fights John Ryder off of that performance again, you have to really question his momentum. There's so many great guys like Demetrius Andrade, who's moving up to 68, David Benavidez He called him out. I made a video about that. But David Benavidez himself is a great fight. Matter of fact, the great Floyd Money Mayweather, easy work. Like I said before, he says that Canelo Alvarez, he believes is ducking David Benavidez. You know what? Matter of fact, roll the clip and subscribe to the channel. Roll the clip.
I look up and down, but it is what it is. I mean, if it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, a hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez.
Bow.
You know, that's just my personal opinion. He's ducking Benavidez.
Bow.
You know, that's just, Canelo, a hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. He's going up to cruise, and I'm not knocking him, but he's going up to cruiserweight. And that same guy with that, he used to be at the Mayweather boxing gym. The guys really get the best of him in the Mayweather boxing gym. So if he's going up to quote unquote cruiserweight, I mean, we got a lot. Benavidez can go and beat that same guy. He can beat that same guy at 168. So he's not doing nothing, you know, like I said before. But when you are put in a certain position, he should be he's able to, like me. You know, when I was in the position, I can pick and choose who I want to.
So there you have it. Floyd Mayweather says Canelo is cherry picking because at that time, Canelo Alvarez said he wanted to move up to cruiserweight. His team said they want to move up to cruiserweight to fight Brook, who also didn't look good in his last fight and arguably lost by robbery. So again, the walls are closing in for Canelo Alvarez. If he fights guys who, one, are unknown, like Brook and coming off bad performances, so unknown like Brook and John Ryder, plus coming off of non-desirable performances where most people thought they should have lost, if you're being fair, and Canelo chooses someone like that, then you know for a fact he's ducking other smoke. There's no other way to put it. I don't care if he fought Caleb Plant for undisputed. He fought similar styles in all that. Like Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders, crafty guys, but not necessarily known as power, like the biggest brute force power punches, right? Eastern European, Turkish guys like Avni Yildirim, who has zero chance. You know, Kovalev after he was faded. I mean, the jig is up. We see the games. So I can't wait to see what Canelo decides, because there's only a handful of fights that really resonate with the public that seem to make the most sense for Canelo Alvarez. Let me get off this picture. If he's fighting a John Ryder, and I'm telling you, listen, I know it might sound crazy. Some people are gonna be like, oh, no ego, you're paranoid. But I would not be surprised if Danny Jacobs was really set up in his last fight. For one, you're the A side in the John Ryder equation. Why are you fighting in his backyard? Like I say, no away games, right? But they gave Danny Jacobs randomly an away game. Why not make John Ryder come to America? Unless you had intentions of, you know, rigging the scorecards or having insanely biased commentary and insanely biased judges and all these things that factor into Danny Jacobs potentially getting robbed. You know, you got to look at stuff like that. You got to look at like the destination and the location. Why was that location chosen? You know, why was that chosen? Especially for you have a Black American fighter, again, who should be the A side in the equation. The other thing is, I don't believe in rewarding bad behavior. You have John Ryder, who again should have lost to Danny Jacobs, all things considered. How should he be rewarded with the Canelo sweepstakes? Meanwhile, guys like Charlo and Beterbiev and Benavidez and Andrade, etc., are all bigger events, better fights, better storylines, better backstories, and they don't get the fight. But a guy can really not win his fight and possibly, what does this stipulate for boxing? What does this suggest about boxing? If just like Caleb Smith, his next fight after robbing John Ryder, as I mentioned earlier, was Canelo. What does that suggest for boxing if Caleb Smith can not beat John Ryder, then they lie and the judges' scorecards indicate that he wins, and then he, during the pandemic, when other people are like David Benavidez, for example, he's a great example. There's no controversy to any of his recent fights. I guess the last time you could even say there was remotely controversy is maybe the Ron Gavro fight, but he already avenged that, so that's really water under the bridge. So Caleb Smith, there absolutely was controversy as to if he really beat John Ryder at home. He got booed just like Teofimo Lopez at home, right? These are facts. Then he gets rewarded with the Canelo fight. John Ryder, ask anybody. They're saying that John Ryder should have lost to Danny Jacobs. I haven't really seen any popular, reasonable boxing commentators or boxers who really think and watch the fight and really believe that John Ryder won. So why should he get rewarded with a Canelo payday? Meanwhile, Demetrius Andrade, there's no controversy in his last fight. He fought Jason Quigley. He knocked him out in like 2 rounds. Wham, bam, thank you, man. So it's going to show you a lot about who Canelo is if he continues to pick guys on the back half of their career, like Sugar Shane Mosley when he was 40, like Carlos Baldomir, who was 41, like Kovalev. And the only older person that he fought that he lost to was Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd, he's a different fighter. You know, he's a different animal. So, you know, I'm not gonna make statements until I see who Canelo is fighting, but I'm not surprised by any of Canelo's motions when he plays these games. So I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo really does want to fight John Ryder. He has a close working relationship with Eddie Hearn, and even though it's a robbery, if you look at Canelo's MO, his MO is to fight guys off of bad performances such as John Ryder. Look up the history. And then if he has this relationship with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn saying, hey, I got the right guy for you, it's going to be another cupcake, another cherry, and it's going to be another fight where nobody wants to see. And the reason why I got to go so savage on these contents is not against John Ryder particularly, even though I don't think he's a world beater and I don't think he's coming off a win. He lost and he's not coming off a great performance. But my whole goal, my whole existence is to uplift the sport of boxing. And Canelo making these moves, these weird, weak moves, they don't actually benefit the whole of boxing by rewarding guys who really didn't win in this politics. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't benefit. And here's another reason why I don't personally like the fight, because I don't reward bad behavior. If you have bad kids, I'm not giving them no candy. I'm not taking them to the movies to see Spider-Man. I'm not getting them a slice of pizza. They are bad. I don't reward bad behavior. And the other bad behavior from Eddie Hearn and also John Ryder is the fact that they ducked a Cuban undefeated fighter, and they're the mandatory for, and that's David Morrell Jr. David Morrell Jr. is a beast, so he's a real life problem. And John Ryder really should be fighting him. I don't think he even beat Danny Jacobs. So if you want to really prove and solidify yourself, how about David Morrell fights David Morrell Jr. versus John Ryder, and then the winner fights Canelo? But I promise you that won't happen, because even though what I'm saying and what I'm outlining makes all the sense in the world and it makes perfect sense, boxing continues to shoot itself in the foot, and they don't really want to do what's right at the end of the day. John Ryder, by no stretch did he win and beat Danny Jacobs. A good redemption fight would be David Morrell. So that's my personal pick, and you know, if Canelo picks a guy, an obscure guy like John Ryder with no real fan base, that's not what's better for boxing. And then again, for the reasons I unpacked in this video and illustrated, which are all factual, fact check me if you dare, right? It doesn't help the whole of boxing to move around like that. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Canelo decides. I think the biggest event out of the rumored names is clearly Jermall Charlo. And some people were, because I made a video about him getting arrested, that was off of a previous situation. And a lot of people got hyped up, all the Canelo fans and Charlo haters, they got hyped up thinking that Jermall Charlo was, you know, going to prison or whatever. But I'll do a follow-up video on that. It sounds like old news, and for whatever reason they brought it back up, and that's why he got arrested. It was not even a fresh charge. So there's much better fights out there. John Ryder, he really should go back to the drawing board and be honest with himself and watch the Danny Jacobs fight and really see and suggest that he won that fight. You know, there's tons of people. Just go on Twitter, go on Instagram or YouTube page that has the fight and read the comments, and you tell me, you know. And the other thing is, Canelo needs to stop fighting guys where it's not even compelling. There's no storyline. It's not like a Adrian Broner, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor dynamic, charismatic personality. And then stylistically, it's not even a fight that people want to see. John Ryder is, look, he wearing Canelo shirts. Man, come on, bro. This man obsessed. He got a Canelo shirt on. And he was the standby for the Billy Joe Saunders, because Billy Joe Saunders was playing games saying that this cannot work. Listen, I'm the best in the business, and I'm here to tell you, this cannot work in boxing. What Canelo is doing, he's going to hurt his legacy. He's going to hurt his star power if he does not give us the fights that people truly want to see. John Ryder, what does this fight do? You've already fought the Liam Smiths, the Caleb Smiths, the Billiam Smiths, the Paul Smiths, the Georgie Smith. You've already fought all these guys. How about switch it up totally and fight some more of these American styles? Because even Caleb Plant in defeat, he still put up a better effort than any English dude that I have recently seen Canelo face. Name somebody who did better than Caleb Plant. It dang sure wasn't Caleb Smith. It wasn't Liam Smith. He got knocked out before Caleb Plant. Caleb Smith didn't get knocked out, but he lost every single second of every single round. So it's just not an interesting dynamic. That's my full thoughts. I'm the best in the business, so you might as well subscribe. If you're watching the Amir fight and Kell Brook, so realistically, if you want to watch that fight, click the link in the description. We unpacked. I promise you, we working. 2022, let's get it. The future of boxing is still here. We unpack. Subscribe to the channel. I'm not a fan of Canelo fighting no dang John Ryder, especially off that performance. Cherry pick all the way if Canelo does actually pick that. We unpack. Holla. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.